Man, they love you. No, I want to echo what Mindy said. Thank you very much for your patience with us as we strive to try something new and try something that will ultimately have an eternal purpose, but also be able to be beneficial to you in your careers. One of the things that we wanted to mention today, that what we are working on right now that will be done probably by the middle of next week, is a letter that will be signed by John Wood that will have the learning outcomes from this conference. It will have basically the layout of this conference, have the logo of the university and of the conference. And the idea of it is, we know a lot of you have to do portfolios. We know a lot of you have resumes that you're going to have to do, and if you haven't started that, don't. Hopefully Jeff Reep's not in here. But if you haven't started that, it would be a good idea to do that. But this will give you something that you can take with you, because we don't want to do anything at Cedarville that you can't use in the future. But that's not the real reason why we were here. It's a good reason, but it's not the real reason why we're here. And I want to take just like 2 minutes, or maybe 3, to go over some of the real reasons why we're here. And we looked at a couple of things this weekend. It was why should we lead, what is leadership, and how do we lead? So I'm going to hit on a couple of things that we've heard. Why lead? Well, we heard from Rob Turner the idea that it's God's love for us is the reason why we lead. John Wood talked about that as well. We've also heard that it's God's plan for your life. Matthew 5:16 says, let your light so shine so that others can see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. It doesn't say maybe let it shine. It says let your good light, your good works shine. So do it. So it's God's plan for your life. It's also God gives you provisions to be able to do it. God tells us in His Word that He gives us everything that we will ever need. Not everything we want, but He gives us all of our needs. So don't waste that. So the reason why we lead is to wrap everything up as God. And it says in 1 Corinthians 11:1, imitate me. Paul says that, imitate me as I imitate Christ. My challenge to you today is imitate Christ so that others can follow you. And follow people who are imitating Christ. Then what is biblical leadership? Well, biblical leadership, as we defined, is leadership is the stewardship of one's God-given gifts, abilities, and opportunities, and using those or seeking to influence and love others. So it's stewardship. It's everything's God's. It'd be really good for you to get that under your belt and to understand that, because as soon as I'm still 41 years old, I will be 41 until this June, and they'll be 42. And the idea of it is I still don't understand that everything is God's, and I struggle with that. And when I struggle with that, I get my whole life messed up. Stewardship, influence. Who are you influencing? Then the real question, who is influencing you? There are people in your life that you might need to stop hanging out with because they're influencing you in the wrong way. Don't hang around negative people. Don't be influenced by them. Influence them. And then service. We saw in John 13:3-5, where at the Last Supper, Jesus gets up, washes the disciples' feet. Do you know in that story that Jesus gets up, that's the first thing He does, then He puts on the towel, then He washes their feet. Through that whole process, the disciples could have said, hey, wait a second, this ain't right. Did you ever think about that? Like, this isn't right. Why is Jesus doing that? But they didn't. But here's Jesus, knowing that He was from God and that He was going back to God and that God had given Him everything, and He washes their feet. Serve people even when it's not popular. Serve people that aren't exactly loving to you. It's easy to serve people you like. It's hard to serve people that are mean to you or that you don't like. Leadership is not a position of power or honor, but one of humility and service. If you want to be a leader, and it's just because, man, that's a cool title, or man, now I get to boss people around, you're missing it. It needs to be about humility. It needs to be about service. And then we looked at why we lead, what is leadership, then we look at how to lead. And one of the things that we want to provide for you is we've created a social media campaign for an entire year. We found 10 verses on stewardship, 10 on influence, 10 on service, and for the next 30-some days, we are going to have those going on our social media, one every day. And then the plan is after that, it goes one every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we're going to add in there some of the sessions from today. So if you couldn't go to everybody's session, and maybe there's some notes from Aaron Cook's session, or Robert Reed's session, or Dr. Janice Saplee's session, or John Hart's session, we're going to have those in there because leadership is learned. You don't wake up one day and go, man, I'm a leader now. Leadership is learned, so we're going to want to provide that for you. The other thing that I want to talk about real quick and end with these 4 things that we heard throughout the conference. Don't be a leader, be a lover of Jesus. Then Rob also said the heart of a leader is focused on Christ. I struggled with that one last night, guys, I'll be honest with you. Because I just like Rob, I love reading stuff about leadership. I don't need to be a leader, I need to be a lover of Jesus Christ. The next one, let service become your default action. Let that come to your mind when you're in class, let service be your default action. When you're at home, let service become your default action. Not what I can get, but what I can do. Have integrity. Be who God created you to be. Don't compare. And then General Reno shared a lot of stories. Integrity works. It works. He's seen it work, and it's a command of God. Live with integrity. Excellence. Don't be ordinary. I shared the quote last night. Jim Elliott says, God, please forgive me for being so ordinary and claiming to know an extraordinary God. Don't be ordinary. Be extraordinary for God. And God can use you. There are several stories throughout history that shows that great, not revolutions, but great revivals happen from the lives of college students or high school students, not from people my age. I can't even imagine what God can do through this group. Don't wait till you're my age. Do it now. I want to pray for you, and we're going to end with singing, and we want to praise our God. So let me just pray for you right now. Father, thank you for these people. Thank you for what you are teaching in their lives and what you are doing. Thank you for being the sustainer, but more importantly, the creator of everything. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for your word. Thank you for your promises. Father, I pray that we would always live with you at the center, that we would be lovers of you and lovers of others because of your Son, Jesus Christ. Father, don't let us be ordinary. Make us extraordinary because of how good you are.